Gracias a la misericordia, bonsoir la société. So, today I want to talk about spiritual protection, how to truly be spiritually protected, especially if you're a constant victim of attack. So, this was the case of Yolanda. And Yolanda had just gotten fired from another job after having had a lot of gossip and lies told on her at this job by various of her coworkers. And she was really tired of it because over and over she would find herself being attacked by people for no real reason. She would just kind of go in and she would go in, do her job, and keep things to the letter, and find that people would kind of like conspire against her, like conspire to bring her down, to get her fired, to remove her from the workplace. And but this didn't just happen with Yolanda at work. A lot of times she would just have random problems with other people for what seemed to be no real reason. And over time, she had tried everything that she could think of, like being nicer, like trying to keep a check on herself, making sure it wasn't something that she was doing or saying to set people off or to cause these problems. She tried working on herself. And she also tried having various resguardos or spiritual protections prepared for her so that to ward off these people and to ward off and stop people from attacking her, in essence to protect her, right? So she had done spiritual work, she had gone to places, she had seen people, she had done spells of protection to get herself protected. And sometimes they worked and sometimes they didn't. Sometimes the conspiracy was stronger than the wanga, as we say. Sometimes the conspiracy was stronger than the work. Sometimes they kind of like lessened things or made things not as bad. At other times, it just seemed like nothing worked at all. And so, Yolanda basically, got tired of it. She got to the point where she got sick and tired of it. This had been multiple jobs she had lost because of other people backstabbing and just lying on her, basically. And she really got tired of it. And that's when she searched and searched and she found me. And we did a consultation, which is always the first step, to really get down to the root of her problem. And what we found with Yolanda, as we find with many, many people, okay, is that the root of her problem was way deeper than what she could see. And that's why the wados and protection spells and protection works, they could only have their sometimey effects, sometimes work, sometimes not. They could only kind of work on one leg, so to speak. And when we started working with Yolanda and really started getting her the real spiritual protection that she needed, things were able to transform for her. So, the first thing that I want you to see is that Yolanda protection spells and being nicer and being a better person and smiling more and all of that wasn't going to work for her. It wasn't working for her. It never had worked for her, and it wasn't going to work for her. Right? In essence, Yolanda was a magnet for basically bad, nasty people, cutthroat individuals, and for spiritual attack, like psychic attack. Not in the sense of spiritual work, in the sense of psychic attack, which anyone who's alive, who's living, has some ability, to some degree, smaller or greater, to do. Okay, and what she had to see is what we brought her clarity to was that really she had become a magnet for this. All right, and so in order for us to get her set straight, in order for us to get her right, right? Throwing another protection spell, another resguardo, another spiritual bath, it wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to help her, right? She had to go through our spiritual work process, right? Our spiritual protection process so that she could get set right. And the first thing that we had to do, right, was clear out and get rid of, right? Clearing out and getting rid of all of those things, right? All those parts in her magnet that was attracting these bad people to her, right? And that's not something that can be accomplished via spiritual baths. That's not something that can be accomplished with simple spells and things of this nature. It's a deep working in which we go in and we remove, right? We take out, right, those things which are causing her to attract these problems and problematic people, right? Once we did that, she stopped having so many problems with people because she stopped attracting them to her. They stopped coming to her, finding their way to her, right? Once we cleared her of that, she experienced a great shift and change, and she was easily able to go ahead and get herself another job, which whenever she had previously lost a job, finding a new job for Yolanda was incredibly difficult because people were just against her. But once we got that cleared up, she was able to go ahead and easily get herself a new job within less than 2 weeks, which was absolutely amazing for her. And the next step that we took with her, once we got that cleared out, right, was to get her roads open to success, right? The next thing was to really open her roads up, because for a long time, because of all the sabotaging, the evil eye, and all of these things, it had caused severe damage to basically Yolanda, her spiritual system, and her life, right? What determines your life is your spiritual system. And your spiritual system, I'm not talking about is the spiritual path, okay? I'm talking like your body, your spiritual body, and its health, right? So we had to get her roads open back up because her roads had shut down as a result, and that's the next step, is to open up the roads. Once we got those roads open, right, now we can start to attract success and people who promote success for Yolanda. And that's what she experienced, was people started like actually helping her out. Stop being so competitive and combative towards her, right? And then that was a very beautiful thing, because she started to feel like a whole different world, a whole different type of lifestyle, once you have like people not like adamantly working against you, right? So that once we got that, now we could protect Yolanda. Now she could be given the protection, and there's different levels of protection. So that's what you want to understand, is that there's different levels of protection, and without that firm foundation there, right, a lot of people try to toss something from a protection level that's just not going to really function, because it's going to have something else working against it, right? The spiritual system is actually working against it. That's what a lot of people can't see, and that's what I want you to see here, is that that's, your foundation. So it's working against it, so these things can't work. But once we can get there, once we got that foundation good, we got her aligned, right? Because you get all these harm over time, got her off of her track. So once we have her aligned, we have her cleared, we have her roads opened, clean, clear, purified, right? We can now put protection and make her like a fortress. And there's different degrees of protection. And so that's something that's really important for you to understand, is that there's different levels to protection, and you can be more protected or less protected, right? And so on the smallest level are the protections like rejuados, protection spells, things of that nature, right? Because those things wear away with time and they hold a certain purpose, right? On another level is having a guard or a spirit with you that acts as a protection, that works with you and protects you, right? And that's really a step up from that in a major way. That's going to protect you at a whole different other level than just like a protection spell, protection bag, a rejuado, an amulet. Those things are going to hold a certain level of protection, right? And then you have being under the mantle, right? And being under the mantle means that you come actually under the mantle of the protection of a spiritual worker. And this is something that we offer to our people. Once we have that foundation set and everything is right, being under the mantle means that you have an even higher level of protection, right? Because now you have a great force that is like an umbrella for you in your life, right? And this is a secret of a lot of people in the 21 divisions and our Caribbean traditions, is that you can get underneath the mantle of a brujo, of a spiritual master, a spiritual worker. You can get underneath the mantle, and that's going to provide you a great protection. And this is something that a lot of people know about, a lot of people use in the islands, but not a lot of people use here in the States because people don't know about it, right? And being under that mantle is going to provide you a whole different level of protection. And then the most powerful way of being protected also is the longest way, meaning it's the longest path. It takes the longest time to develop. And it's not something that can just be handed to you. And that's development of vista, being able to see. Okay, because no matter how much protection you have, all right, no matter how much protection you have, if you can't see, right, and see truth with utmost clarity and reality with utmost clarity, you're gonna step into a mud hole, right? There's gonna be times where you're going to take the wrong turn, right? And it's not that you're not protected, it's that you don't know where you should and shouldn't be, and you haven't avoided the situation. Okay? Another thing to understand is that you can't be protected against life lessons or your own karmas. You can't be protected against them because they're the result of cause and effect, and they're something that you're going to have to go through, right? The development of la vista, right, the sight, is going to give you the knowledge, the knowing, the sight, to know where to go, where not to go, when to go somewhere, when not to go somewhere. But that's part of the mystical path, which is the path of development. For many people, like Yolanda, right, once she was under the mantle, she had the clearing, she had her roads open, her alignment, her purity, and came under the mantle, it was enough for her to now be able to succeed, right? I mention her story because I recently was in contact with her, and she's had this job now for like over a year and some change, which is the longest she's ever really had a job because people would constantly attack her, right? And not only has the whole job situation changed with how people are like at her at work, but also within her friendships and with her family has shifted and changed because those things are no longer attracting those problems. And she has a certain level where her system is healthy. So I hope that's giving you clarity about spiritual protection and how spiritual protection really works. Many blessings to you, Ancient One, Gracia la Misericordia, Mystics. If you like our videos, go ahead and subscribe. Donate to us at Cash App, cash symbol Hector Salva, or on PayPal at help@mysticalwork.com. If you want to get protected, if you want to become like a spiritual fortress, right, where nobody can fuck with you, nobody can mess with you, right, get a hold of us at help@mysticalwork.com. And like Yolanda, we can help you, right, get those things set right. If you understand what it is to be going through this shit over and over and over and having people constantly like trying to get at you, attack you, and harm you, then you know what she went through, you know what she's dealing with. If you're dealing with something like that and you need to become a fortress, right, and you really need to be fully spiritually protected, go ahead and contact us at help@mysticalwork.com. The first step is always a consultation. You can go ahead and Soleil will direct you for that. We'll, get the information to you to get you started, and let's get you set up like a spiritual fortress, just like Yolanda, where nothing of what people are doing is harming you, and people aren't looking to have problems with you, right? You're not having these same types of people coming at you over and over wherever it is that you go, right? And you're starting to deal with a new class of people. There is different types of people, okay? And you're starting to be able to be supported in success, right? So again, that's help@mysticalwork.com, and we can help you do that just like we did with her. So many blessings to you, and keep the faith until next time.